Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Got a crossout video for us today, guys. Now in today's video we are going to be going over, unfortunately, the worst part of crossout for me at the moment. Kind of wanted to balance this out, which is why yesterday's video was me going over the best part of crossout, but we got to be fair and comparative, and this issue is just kind of getting worse at the moment. You'll all understand and probably agree when I get to it, but this issue with Crossout has been probably its biggest issue for a little while now, and is kind of getting worse. This is why I wanted to do a video on it. So, the worst part of Crossout for me and a lot of other people at the moment is just the general power creep of newer items being added to the game. Now, I admit power creep is in pretty much most games, to be honest. It's a very big part of gaming. The developers obviously need to make money, so the newer stuff to incentivize people to make money is going to be really, really good. But there are degrees to this, and there are levels to it, and Crossout is just really taken it too far lately with their newer items. So in a general overview, just to show this off, I want to go over the three best builds in Crossout for me currently. So, firstly, we've got a Scorpion Nox Hover. The new part of this build is the new carbon. The new carbon is probably the best light carbon in the game. It increases your penetration. It allows Scorpions to basically just go through builds like nothing else, and it kind of has made Typhoons pointless overnight. The another best build in the game, probably the actual best build for me, is a Nemesis Griffin car. Now, this is the newest relic into the game, and they're just incredibly efficient. And then finally, we've got, well, a Triton anything, to be honest. Tritons, you could argue, are very much the best weapon in the entire game, and these are with the new battle pass. Now, as you can see, all three of these builds are the best in my opinion, but all three have new aspects in some regard. New relic, new battle pass weapon, new cabin. Something about it is new, and it's like the biggest problem with Crossout is that the last two battle passes, especially, the power creep in them has just been kind of unprecedented. Now, I understand that you release new weapons and you want the new weapons to be good, and those weapons should be like a 10 out of 10 just to incentivize people to buy whatever it is you're selling. But the last two battle passes, I think a lot of people would agree, have just kind of taken that way too far to the point where you're not making the new items a 10 out of 10, you're making them an 11 or 12 out of 10. They're just far too good at what they are. And the worst thing about it is that they are legendary weapons as opposed to relics. Now, this is actually a really bad thing because let's say, for example, that they made a battle pass, a big one, little one, doesn't really matter, and they sold relics in the game in these battle passes. Now, that would kind of be explainable for them being incredibly good. But the problem with them making legendary weapons that are incredibly good is that, say, the Tritons, I'll use as a good example. The Triton is a legendary weapon, but it performs like a relic weapon. So you can use Tritons at the top of Clan Wars against all of the relics in the game, and it will do fantastically well. But in a lot of sense, it's actually better than any other relic in the game because even though it performs like a relic weapon, it only has the power score of a legendary because it's classified as a legendary, which is why you've seen the last, what, two battle passes worth of battle for uranium have been absolutely dominated by battle pass weapons. Because if you take the Tritons, the Jupiters, the Comets before this, these weapons were relic tier when they came out, but they only had legendary power score, which meant that at a legendary level, they were just far too good and absolutely dominated the game to the point where, like, I think since the Tritons came out, the last say three battle for uraniums has just been Triton spam. Even in Walker mode, it's Triton spam. The last one was really bad. Triton spam. They're just far too good at the game, and this is a really big issue with the last two battle passes. Is that the Tritons are far too strong. The Jupiters were far too strong until they got their nerf. The Comets before this were far too strong. The mainframe carbon was far too strong. The mainframe carbon was basically the first relic cabin in the game. It was relic like performance, but it was better than every other legendary for the exact same power score as a legendary. And this is by far the worst part of Crossout for me and a lot of other people. You are making it so that people who don't buy the battle passes are at a huge disadvantage and get very annoyed with the game and leave the game. I've seen a bunch of comments on my videos basically saying that they cannot deal with the Triton spam. You had players who used to play Battle for Uranium, they would get top 60, top 100, but since they couldn't afford the Tritons or they couldn't afford the Triton battle passes, they've just been pushed far out of those because they cannot compete with this weapon because it's far too good. Like I said, it's a relic tier performance for only legendary power score, which means that it's absolutely dominant when you compare it to other legendaries. They just do not stand a chance. It's just you're pushing a rock uphill the entire time. It just really isn't fair. So I figured I would just do this to show, comparatively, but this really needs to stop. I understand, like I said, new weapons, new items into the game need to be good. They need to be good in order to incentivize people to, buy these battle passes so that the developers make their money at the end of the day. But they've gone way too far with it with these last two battle passes, and they're just far too strong. They've made just unquestionably the best weapons in the game, the best cabins in the game, the last two battle passes. And people have caught on at this point. It's not like you can get away with this stuff anymore. It's just blatant, and even the most, well, even the newest crossover player knows full well that these battle pass items are just far too powerful. So I really, really hope that this new upcoming battle pass they address this issue because, like I said, it's okay making a gun that's 10 out of 10, but you just these sent to like 11, 12. They're far too effective. So thank you all for watching, guys. Just wanted to rant about that and just point that out just for like fairness of the current state of the game. It's really quite disappointing actually because I've said this many times, but the most recent balance challenges for the game have been fantastic. There's a lot of variety in the game now, but it's kind of all being spoilt a bit by these last two battle pass weapons just being too powerful and pushing everything. Like if it wasn't for the current state of Tritons, I think Battle for Uranium would actually be really quite well balanced. I'd be very interested to see, but you don't see any of that because there's no reason to run anything other than Tritons at the moment, which is really, really unfortunate. But yeah, anyway, thank you for letting me rant for like 5 or so minutes, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will catch you for tomorrow's.